Okay, so I've got my surrounding area nice and smooth, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect, but as smooth as you can get it will be best. Now, what I've done is I've taken that drywall, all right, and I've created a little patch. And what I've done is I've cut away the drywall, see, to reveal a lip. Now, if you want to know how to do this, you can go to the CJ and Drill website, and there'll be a video on how to create or how to repair drywall. We show you how to make what's called a California patch. I've got my patch. I'm just going to fold the lip back. And what I'm going to do is the lip is folded back. I'm going to use this as my template to cut out the hole. So I'm going to just place it like this. There we go. And now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to outline it. I'm going to use a utility knife to make a nice sharp cut. There we go. And we're going to do that. We're going to continue around the perimeter. Okay, so I've cut it out. Now I'm just going to push it in. Okay, so we're ready for a patch. Now, before I apply the patch, I just want to tell you that there's another technique, and it's where you attach a piece of wood to the back side. Again, if you go to the CJ and Drill website, we teach you both techniques. Okay, so we dry fit. You want to make certain that it's going to fit, so do a dry fit first. And there we go. It fits really nicely, so we're going to pull it out. Now it's time to apply joint compound. So we put a little bit inside the cavity there. It's going to help it seal a lot better if you put a little joint compound on that lip. Okay, now I'm going to hit the surface. You want it heavy enough so it really bonds that paper, the drywall to the surface. Okay, so we've got our piece inserted. Now we got to lay those edges down. And you have to lay them down flat. Okay, we're going to let this dry, and then I'm going to go over it with one more coat. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in this area here. Now I'm going to try to lay down those edges even a little bit more, because we're trying to disguise the edge. Now keep in mind that it's your edge. It's these edges that are most important. Okay, so we're all ready to go, all right? Now you may be saying, well, wait a second, Leah, that's not completely smooth. Here's the beauty of it, folks. It doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to be because we're working with a very aggressive texture. Now comes time to apply the texture. Now this particular texture is usually applied by a trowel, but the trowel is too big for the surface, so we're just going to use the margin trowel. Like I said, it's an aggressive texture, so we don't worry about imperfections in the surface. All you want to do is you want to just use a little bit. Let me show you about how much you need on the back there. That's it. And now you're going to lay it flat. I'm just going to lay it flat. You want to take your repair right to the edge. Now, you might want to come out just a little bit beyond your patch to get it to blend a little bit better. But I got to tell you, this is a great patch. Now, this is our next texture, and it's called a swirl texture, and when it comes to doing a swirl, you really got to get a pretty smooth surface. This right here, that line needs to be eliminated. A swirl patch is a little more difficult. It's probably going to be the most difficult you're going to have to blend. So what you want to do is you want to wet the outside edges just a little bit. Okay, and you're probably wondering, well, why, Leah? Why do I have to wet the outside edges? Well, here's the thing. dry joint compound is going to suck all the moisture out of the wet joint compound you're putting on it. And it's going to look awful if you don't at least wet the edges just a little bit with a little water before you get started. Texture is just joint compound with a little water added to it to make it like a creamy consistency. So I'm just going to brush it on just like this, just a little beyond the lines that are already there. Now we have to put our design in. This is a stiff bristle brush, and that's what you're going to need, okay? And you want to get a bristle brush that's the size of the texture that you're trying to replicate. So we want to start here. This is where it's dry, this is where it's wet, and we're going to blend in. Ready? Here we go. And we're just going to do a turn, like a fan. Ready? Here we go. Now, I'm going to continue on with the pattern. I want to blend into this. This is dry, this is wet. Same thing, just a fan. Now I've got to blend in here. Now this is dry here, so I'm going to have to come back in this direction. Here we go. Now I have to pick up the rest of the pattern below. And this is how you do it. I'm going to come in right here, because that's where our repair is, right in here. And I'm just going to make a small turn. Now I've got to fix this texture here. This is dry as well. And this is when you have to be a little more delicate. So what you want to do is you want to remove as much of the joint compound as you can from your brush. And you're going to want to go along the ridge of the existing texture. See where this is dry? The top of the ridge is right here. We're going to have to go along it. That's it. And that's how you repair a swirl pattern. Now this texture here, this is what they call a slap brush texture. And here's the thing. Notice how rough the patch is? I did it that way on purpose because I want you to know that you don't have to do a perfectly smooth patch for such an aggressive texture. This will do fine. Now it's set. Now let's just apply our joint compound. Now what I have here is a hot dog roller. So just an extra skinny roller. And I've got joint compound on it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it on. I've got it on nice and heavy. Chances are you're not going to have a stucco brush because it's a specialty item. If you're just a homeowner and you're trying to match the texture, this is your best bet. Just a rubber glove. And all you have to do, believe it or not, is slap your hand against it. Watch. Now the point is, you want to use the palm of your hands. Keep your finger out of it, okay? Just use your palm. Now watch. I'm going to get some real definition now. And that's it. That's all it takes is a rubber glove. And folks, that's how easy it is to fix a textured wall or ceiling. This is Leah saying, you can do this.